Ooh, this was a brave piece, and this was a powerful piece. Brilliantly executed. I love the pacing, that narration to guide us through made it feel like a friend, or it could be us doing the narrating. Yeah, it was like a diary entry which invited us into our journey in a really intimate way. And the intimacy implicated me as a viewer where I couldn't look away or check out. So great storytelling device there. The downward spiral into destruction was visceral and it brought me emotionally with her. The fear, the uneasiness, uh, all built with a brilliant tension and immensity until we got that final release at the end when the memories come flooding back. But I thought the performance from our lead was brilliant. She blew me away. She sold that roller coaster of emotions in a deeply raw and grounded way. I also thought the underwater sequences were poetic, an emotional way to capture this journey.
The actress was perfectly cast. Her intensity really stood out amongst the others. So talented. Her scene with the college counselor was fabulous, where she stands up for herself and lets this person know that the job is not being done that should be to help her. Some of the attack scene was handled so well with the underwater effect and the victim not being able to move or do anything. The powerlessness of that was felt so well through the special effects. I also thought it was very clever to keep that timeline of the days, weeks, months since the attack so that the audience really understands that every day and moment from that time on has changed in the life of the victim. I thought it was so well written and very well done.
Wow, this opening was just absolutely amazing. It kind of let you know immediately what was going on, what was happening, and the journey that you were about to take, which I loved. I thought that that was fantastic. The voiceover that the actress did also really perfect. I mean, there was such a great inflection and emotion. The acting in this was top notch, really moving and beautiful, exceptionally well done. The filmmakers did a great job with this. I like how they told this story, how they went through the progression, what they were doing to tell the story. There were several moments where the filmmakers added these really cool, super quick cuts to start off a new segment. And I thought that that was such a clever and creative way to let you know that you were transitioning into another section of the story. This progressed perfectly.
It becomes a very inspiring story of resilience and recovery. It also promotes justice for victims and survivors. I thought that the using Grace as the narrator was a very powerful way to tell this very personal story. I think it was a very good choice to use first person narration behind the shots that we are seeing in the film that we're watching. I also thought that the special effects makeup should be noted. Grace um, develops some sort of sores or rashes from her drug use, and the makeup that like progressed with her condition, I thought looked very accurate and really amplified kind of the severity of her condition. But once again, I thought that as we watch Grace transition to a victim to a survivor, um, it was very powerful to see her regain her control and her confidence and overcome the traumatic incident and the PTSD that she struggled with afterwards.
Not what I thought it would be at all. This dynamic, this woman, where it really shows the pain she went through and how this one night changed her life, and it should. It's film. This film, you can tell, very much came from the heart. It felt very, very personal to the filmmaker. It's something that I think I heard 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted, especially by someone in power, and in her case, her professor. This is something that needs to be talked about, and this film shows what it did to her life, where she couldn't focus on university anymore. She couldn't focus on living. I was surprised at the end when she threw the painting away. I figured it might get donated to a gallery or something like that to help other girls, since she was talking about speaking out and saying what other girls are so they wouldn't feel alone. But I get why she trashed it too, because it's showing that she's ready to heal. It was just an unexpected ending with that particular phase, but the filmmakers did a really good job at showing the passage of time and how much this has been consuming her life.
But this one is pretty more interesting because it goes deeper after like that night, after the sexual abuse, how a character needs to control like herself, need to take care of like her emotion, her trauma after the terrible situation. And the performance by the actress, I feel like it conveys a lot of depth, like from that experience. It's not hard for anybody to play that kind of characters because it requires lots of background studying, lots of works on the characters. But this one is pretty well done, and with like a well-produced settings, productions, it just make this one. It looks like a feature, like in some way. It just well composed together, and it's also tell a very strong message in this thing too.
Playing with time, as far as it's like not quite linear, and using that to keep the audience guessing and keep the audience engaged. I think that was a really great technique that y'all used. I really like that the acting. The lead actress was phenomenal, and really like the overall like directing and editing specifically. But it really, I would say this film is like you really feel it, like you really like feel for uh, this person, and like empathy, sympathy. You know what I mean? It really draws you in.
Emotional film. This is a very deep movie. I was really invested from start to finish. Seeing this young woman going through the stages of PTSD, reliving again and again the moment of a sexual assault that is basically conditioning her life now, because everything she does is connected to this point, even though it's not actually really connected. She connects it herself, so she can't go out further. She's trying really, she's fighting as she can to really move forward and forget about your experience, although it's absolutely impossible for a character. I think it was very powerful. There are many moments, especially when she has these flashes from the past, from the moment what happened, when it happened, and it's the kind of mix of the different shots that are quite difficult to understand for us, but for her as well. So I think it was a very well done film.